Hello everyone, I'm Amita Sharma. My today's video is on the topic of performance appraisal. In this topic, we will be talking about what exactly performance appraisal is, what is the purpose for which the companies they do performance appraisal, what are the methods through which the performance appraisal is being done by the organizations, what are the ways through which it is being done. Along with that, how to make an effective performance appraisal system, what is the criteria, and the problems that is being faced by the organization in terms of conducting performance appraisal. And at the last, I'll be talking about what is potential appraisal. What is performance appraisal? Performance appraisal is a method by which the job performance of an employee is evaluated. Or we can say performance appraisal is a review of an employee's performance of assigned duties and responsibilities. Performance appraisal is a way through which the companies or the institutions they evaluate the performance of their employee. This is a way through which we come to know that how well or how bad a particular employee's performance is there in the organization in terms of whatever the task that is being assigned to them. This is a way through which the companies they judge the employee's performance. Performance evaluation, performance appraisal, merit rating, these are some of the terminologies that is being used or that are being associated with performance appraisal. The performance appraisal measures skills and accomplishment with reasonable accuracy and uniformity. Why performance appraisal is required in the organization? Because the people with different skills, capabilities, they are working in the organization with different educational backgrounds. Now, the people with different knowledge, with different skills, while performing a particular job, everyone's expertise, everyone's ability to do it is completely different. Some do the work in a very under unsatisfactory manner. Some people they do it in a very extremely better way. Some are average performers. So in that case, you can't take all of them in the one row. So it is very important to evaluate each one of them so that the good performer they can get something good work, some average performer in which we need to work on, some poor performer we need to make efforts on those employees. So this is the way through which you can evaluate the skills of the employee and do a proper justice with them in terms of their skills, in terms of their talents. And this is something which is very much helpful for the employees in terms of their personal growth as well, because this is the way through which the organizations they after this thing the organization they are going to give you any kind of promotions, any kind of increments, hikes in your salaries as well. How the companies they do the performance appraisal, there's some different ways or methods are there which are we are going to discuss with you in the other slides. But when we say performance appraisal, the simple way is it is done through KRAs, which we call it as key result areas. The bosses they simply define, or the rater they simply design what all are the key result areas within which the employee is going to work in the entire year. So on these KRAs, the employee they need to work on, these KRAs are already being discussed with the employees and they are being told the areas in which they need to work with. And once a year, after a particular year is over, at the completion of that particular year, it is the rater they are going to rate the employee ratee on the basis of these parameters. How extremely good, how average, or how poor you have performed. When we talk about performance appraisal, it is on a general basis done on an yearly basis. It is on the basis of which each employee is being evaluated in the organization. Now, the definitions of performance appraisal. According to Edwin Flippo, performance appraisal is a systematic, periodical, and impartial rating of an employee's excellence in matters pertaining to his present job and his potential for better job. Another definition that has been given by Dale Beach, according to him, performance appraisal is a systematic evaluation of the individual with regard to his or her performance on the job and his potential for development. In both the definitions on performance appraisal, they simply says that performance appraisal is basically an activity which is said to be a very systematic activity. There's a time period which is being defined by the organization, and on that particular time period, on an every regular basis, on an yearly basis, this performance appraisal is being done. It is on a very systematic manner also. There is a complete system or a procedure through which the each and every employee performance appraisal is being done. A particular form is there. Each and every employee, they need to write what all other things they have done. Or there are different platforms, whatever the methodology that is being followed by the companies for their performance appraisal, according to that it is being done. So the whole sole purpose is that there should not be any partiality, and each and every employee, their present job is to be evaluated so that he can be assessed in a better manner. Along with that, we can identify the employee for better growth opportunities by identifying the potential in themselves and promote them or transfer them for better jobs, for better performance appraisal. There are various objectives for which the companies they do the performance appraisal. The very first objective is record of employees' performance to determine the wages and incentive pay. The companies they are conducting the performance appraisal, the purpose is that whosoever is doing the better job, the organizations they can give them better salaries. They can do some kind of increments, giving them certain kinds of additional benefits, giving them some incentives for which they have promised. So this is the performance appraisal through which the companies they can give increase the salaries, wages, incentives, increments for the employees. Another objective of doing the performance appraisal is to identify the employees who have been placed on wrong jobs, to transfer them to jobs for which they are better suited. Usually, sometimes it happens that on the basis of your qualification, on the basis of the basic knowledge that has been identified, you have been given certain jobs on the basis of your entire selection process. But while working, while seeing the job profile, certain areas of interest or certain performances are being identified for the employees. And according to that, if it is being evaluated in a right sense, then in that case it is very much easier to identify the right skills or in right area in which the employee can work better. So in that time also, if it has been wrongly placed, he can be transferred to some other jobs, other areas of work. Another objective is facilitate employee to know his performance and take steps to develop himself. It is very important that it is through performance appraisal only each employee will come to know that where they are standing, how they have done the job. In these colleges and the universities also, semester basis, annual basis, exams usually conducts. You keep on reading, studying the books, but at the time of examinations or after the examinations, after your evaluation, your whole soul performance comes into the picture. So that is your whole soul area, or actually your complete result of your entire 1 year or 6 months of time. So the same way in the organization also, when they do the performance appraisal, they actually give you your uh, what we can say, the performance that you have done in the entire 1 year in the organization, how you did the job. This is the way the management or the entire system of performance appraisal or the raters has evaluated you. Now, the another objective is locate the employee with adequate potential for promotions and development. Through this also, by a proper evaluation system with whatever method, the organization, they give a proper what we can say, opportunities to the employees for promotions, for any kind of developments if they find a potential in the employee, if they find that the employee they had extremely have a good performance. This is again one of the way through which the companies they can identify, or the raters can identify the strengths and the weaknesses of the employee. In which area the employee is good at, and in which area the employee is not performing well. So in which you are good at, the company they can shift the area of work, or they can provide the nature of work to that particular employee. Means the kind of work in which you are good in, you will be allotted with the similar kind of task. Determine the another is the determine the training and development needs of the employee. Again, performance appraisal. After performance appraisal is being done, the employee's actual appraisal is done, his merit rating is done, then also the companies, while seeing them that either they are extremely good performer, average performer, below average performer, then for the average and below average or the poor performers, the companies they need to work hard. For that, what the company they do, the companies, if they want, they find that they had a potential and these things can be worked on, so that if we put some efforts on the employee, then they can give better results in future. So the companies they design the training and development programs for the areas in which they are lacking, the weak points in which the companies they want certain kinds of improvements. So these all are the various objectives of performance appraisal. Now, the methods of performance appraisal. Methods of performance appraisal are said to be the very important topic under this area of performance appraisal. There are two areas, or we can say two ways through which the organizations they do the performance appraisal of their employees. Traditional methods and modern methods. When we say traditional methods, we have 6 methods under it, and under the modern method, we have 3 methods. Now we'll do one by one. We'll go through with each one of them. The very first one is straight ranking method. Straight ranking method, or a simple ranking method, it is a method through which the employee's performance is being done on the basis of simple ranking. If someone has performed extremely good, he will be ranked as 1. If someone has ranked little bit below with the ranking 1, he will be given rank 2, then rank 3, 4 and 5. If the minimum number of employees are there in a team, then the rater or the boss, they can give a simple ranking to their employees who did very well, he will get 1, who do extremely poor performance, then it will get 5. It is a simple ranking system. Another ranking, other than the method of performance appraisal, is paired comparison method. Paired comparison method is a method in which each employee is being evaluated on the basis of comparison with one another. Now, with whom the comparison is being done? In this, say for example, um, if there is a team, and in that team there are 5 team members. Now the rater or the superior, they want to rank the employee, they need to rate them. Now what he is doing with all the 5, he is comparing with all one of them. Right? Say for example, there are 5 employees A, B, C, D, E. Now he is going to evaluate each one of them with one another. Right? Say for example, A will be compared with B, A will be compared with C, A will be compared with D, A will be compared with E. After that, B will be compared with C, B will be compared with D, then B will be compared with E. Then C will be compared with D, C will be compared with E, right? Then D with compared with E. So this is the way each one of the employee will be compared with one another. And on that basis, the best employees will be give ranked accordingly. On that basis, we'll see who has performed well. According to that, he will be given appraisals. Next is force distribution method. Force distribution method is a kind of method in which certain percentage is being defined for giving certain kind of ranking. Say for example, we have a team of around more employees like 20-25 employees. Now we need to give them certain kind of ranking. What we will do that we had defined that 10% of the employee will get rank 1. 20% of the employee will get rank 2. 30% of the employee will get rank 3 later on. Like, so this is the way we have done a force distribution. We have done a certain percentage fixed within which we will be giving the rank. And on the basis of the employee's performance, they will be coming under that particular percentage. Right. So how it is different from straight ranking method? In straight ranking, minimum people and simply we give them ranking. Here, in force distribution, we again give them the ranking, but we define certain percentage of slot and for whom we will be giving them ranking. Then the next traditional method is graphic rating scale method. Graphic rating scale method is a kind of method in which a particular employee is being rated on the basis of certain performance factors and with certain kind of ratings. Like say for example, if we have certain kind of 5-point scale, right? Or we can say if a particular employee is being given certain kinds of criteria, like if he'll be getting a fifth rank, fourth rank, third rank, second rank, first rank, then in that case we will be covering certain kinds of performance with that. Say for example, if first factor will be there, then he will be getting an outstanding performance. If the second is there, he will be getting above average performance. If it is third, then he will be getting average or what we can say good performance. Then it is four, it is considered as below average performance. And if it is E, it is a unsatisfactory performance. So this is a 5 points scale through which a graphic rating scale method can be done. Another is the essay method. Essay method is a very simplest method in which the rater write a complete description about a particular rating in detail about their strengths, weaknesses, how they are performing, they have performed the complete task. Along with that, it is a kind of a story that they are writing in terms of the n number of activities they had performed. What is the potential, where certain kinds of improvements are being required. Everything is being done in the form of an essay. And on the basis of that essay, a particular employee's performance is being evaluated. Another is critical incident method. Under the critical incident method, the employees are being evaluated on the basis of certain incidents in which they had performed. Certain incidents in which they have performed a certain kinds of jobs, in which they have some good behavior, they have some bad behavior. The companies, the workers or the employees, sometimes certain checklists are also being prepared with certain kinds of statements, with certain kinds of incidents that had happened. And according to that, good and bad thing about that employee is being write it down in that particular checklist form. Along with that, under the critical incident, employees' behavior are being checked on the basis of certain kinds of incidents, right? Some kinds of corporate presentations, sometimes of business meetings, sometimes of dealing with customers. So many incidents can take place, and on that basis, what behavior they carried, good, bad, on that basis, it is being evaluated. Now another is the modern method. There are three modern methods are there. The very first is management by objective. Management by objective is said to be a very important technique through which an employee is being done or being evaluated. Why it has been said as a modern method? Because first of all, I'll define you what management by objective is all about. Management by objective is something in which the employee and the superior or the subordinate, they together design the objectives of their work. It is not only the superior who is going to decide. Under this approach, both of them together in a participative manner, they decide the objective in which they need to work on. So management by objective is again said to be an important method through which we evaluate the performance, because the employee who themselves design the objectives, that what exactly are we going to do in the coming year or a 6 months time period, then in that case, on the basis of their own plannings and their own process, it is being evaluated that how they have achieved that particular work on the basis of the objectives they had designed it together or with the entire team, how the people they have actually accomplished the things that they had created or designed by themselves. Another is the behaviorally anchored rating scale method. We also call it as bars. Now it is an extension to your graphic rating scale method, as I have already provided you some of the notes within which you will be getting a complete figure out of it. It simply talks about that whenever we give certain kinds of ranking to the employees with certain kinds of explanation, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranks. Accordingly, we have given them certain performance criteria like outstanding, above satisfactory, good, below average, unsatisfactory. Again, it is being bifurcated into again two parts. Say, for example, under the behaviorally anchored rating scale, in which we are actually focusing on the um, other dimension or an extension to it. Say, for example, if someone has done an extraordinary performance, then more than extraordinary or less than extraordinary, both the parameters will be considered into it. If you are good, then above good and below good, these again factors will be considered. Means something like, if between the good and the satisfactory part, there are some small parameters are also there. Sometimes it is, if we can say that he is good but he is not excellent, so the gap between the 2 points will be considered under or extended by the behaviorally anchored rating scale method. If you see the diagram, you will be getting a better clarity on it. And the last of the method is modern method, that is 360-degree performance appraisal. 360-degree performance appraisal is also known as multi-data feedback system. It is said to be a very useful method, although it's a time-consuming method as well. But at the same time, this is the way through which the large number of employees are being evaluated with the unbiased, with its unbiased properties, like how a particular 360-degree performance appraisal is being done, why it is being called as a multi-rater feedback system. Because in the traditional methods, we have seen that The rater is the only one who is going to rate the employees of the ratee. And most of the times there are chances that the biasness, partialities can take place. So in order to avoid such kind of problems, the organizations they sometimes adopt the 360-degree method through which they are going to rate the performance of the employees. There are six parties are there through which the 360-degree performance appraisal will take place. The very first party is the immediate supervisor. The immediate supervisor is the one who actually is the supervisor under whom you are working with. He is the one who has designed your entire key result areas, who is monitoring on you on a regular basis. They know your strengths, weaknesses. They know what exactly the task you are performing, how you are performing. So he is the main person who is actually going to evaluate your performance. So this is the first party. Then the second party is the co-workers, to whom we call it as colleagues or the peer group. These are the employees who are working under the same level, or we can say within the same team, within the same department, or maybe in the other departments or in the different departments. But with the same designations. Now, these employees are, their feedback are also very much important because they are the ones with whom you are working as a team. You are coordinating with them, you are having certain level of cooperation with them, you work together, right? So these things are very much important because working in a team is very much important. So how your peer groups think about you? Are you a good team player, right? Are you a good uh, what we can say co-worker, peer group member? So these are being judged by your peer group members. Then we have subordinates. The third party under 360-degree performance appraisal is the subordinates. Subordinates are the ones who are actually working under you. They are your, what we can say, ratee. They are basically your subordinates. They are your employees who are actually with whom you are taking the work from. They are the ones who are working under you. So they also give the feedback about you because the management they also wants to know that how good you are in terms of giving the direction, how good you are in terms of planning, how good you are in terms of taking the work from them. So it is very important that are your employees who are working under you, they are happy with you, are they want to work with you, are they actually liking your behavior, are they liking the way you are treating them? Are they liking that what kind of knowledge you are having or your directions? Everything is being judged through the subordinates. Then the fourth method, sorry, the fourth party is the self-appraisal. Self-appraisal is an appraisal in which the employee they themselves given the opportunity to evaluate yourself. The whole sole purpose of giving the self-appraisal is to see the honesty level of the employee. Because we all employees, we all of them, we are doing the work. But each one of us knows that how well we performed. Have we done anything or we have not done anything? Or are we actually an average performer? So the companies, by giving you that particular performance appraisal form, simply wants to know that how honest you are in terms of judging yourself. Because it is not the single form through which the company they are going to evaluate you. There are some rest five parties are there who are actually going to tell you about yourself. So self-appraisal. Another party is suppliers. The suppliers are the ones who are providing the raw material to the companies. Now the employees who are in direct touch with the various suppliers, distributors, vendors. Now in that case, Whenever we are doing the performance appraisal for those employees, it is important to take those parties into the picture because their maximum work is mainly with those employees. So, without their feedback, it is said to be incomplete. The company or the supervisor, they want to know that how well they are dealing with the various distributors, because distributors are basically, or the suppliers who are actually the outsiders, and they are going to take the image, or who are actually going to make an image about the organization by their employee itself. So they are the center point of contact. So how they are dealing with them, how they are making the payments, what is the entire procedure they are following with, in terms of quotations, in terms of transferring of goods, everything. So these are the things through which you'll come to know that are the supplier and they are happy with those employees, with their workings, are they, don't they have, are they having any kind of escalations, whatever. So these are being identified. The last party under the 360-degree performance appraisal is actually the customers. Now, when I say customers, these are the main party in any of the business. So, whosoever is in direct touch with the customers or their main profile is actually dealing with the customers. So, customer feedback is again very important because they are the ones who will tell you about how they are maintaining the relationship with the customers, how they are dealing with the customers, they are treating with them, how they are actually serving them. Are they actually solving their problems or not? How, is it timely, it is being done or not? So how, what is the feedback of the customers about the quality of service, delivery, everything will be counted under it. So this is a 360-degree system through which we can take the feedback from multiple parties, and according to that, from all the dimensions, our employee is being evaluated. So this is all about the entire methods of performance appraisal. Now the problems in performance appraisal. Now what all are the methods that we had studied as of now? No method is absolutely valid and reliable. Now, each method, either it is traditional or the modern method, each method has its own strengths and weaknesses. Now, but along with that, with the formal performance appraisal system, has some problems and issues. Now, what all these problems are? First is the judgment bias. Judgment bias simply talks about that whenever a rater they want to, evaluate the rating, most of the time they have a leniency system. The scales that they are using, sometimes they are unable to make a differentiation in the scales. Sometimes, it most of the time, it happens that you give all the points sometimes similar to that. Maximum people the same points. You are not differentiating between the two. So with that case, the differentiation from one to another, it becomes quite difficult. So that's why it becomes judgmental biasness. Right. So for example, when we are giving maximum marks, if we know that this is the marks that we need to give. Now we are not evaluating them on each and every parameter, right? And by mistake we had given them all the similar kind of marks, right? So say for example, for 10 employees we have, out of 20 we have given 15 employees same 10 10 10 10 marks. So in that case it will lead to judgment biasness because you have not used a proper scale. You have not have a raters who don't have a control over the scales. Faulty management assumptions. Employees performance are also suffered from this management assumptions as well. Managers always wish to appraise their subordinates with fair and accurate basis, and on the basis of whatever the criteria that they had decided. Sometimes the management, they also have the assumptions that, the managers, they also wants to know that how they are performing, right? uh, they actually really wants to they also, sometimes the rater, they also have this particular evaluation that the ratee, they want to know that where they are standing, and in order to show that particular, showcase that particular thing, they sometimes they do the evaluation, that they also want to know that how they are actually performing. Sometimes the problem comes with the criteria problem. Sometime, every time, even in every organizations, the objective of performance appraisal, they vary, right? Vary from organization to organization. The criteria that they are using to appraise the employees, they again vary from organization to organization, right? So criteria are hard to define, mainly in measurable terms, right? Sometimes it is vague, sometimes it is ambiguous, sometimes generality is missing. So these are some of the problems in terms of criterias, right? Say for example, I'm giving you some examples, right? No significant relationship was found between employees' performance evaluation and their promotions. Both, most of the time, when you are putting so many criterias, but at the time when the promotion performance appraisal take place, performance appraisal is done, but there is no scope for promotions, transfers, and all. Like, no reliability was noticed, that rater reported on paper about the performance of the subordinate and what he or she reported in face-to-face discussion. Sometimes it happens, what is there in the paper and what is there on face-to-face discussion is completely different, right? Supervisors took only few minutes to complete the appraisal before its submission, right? It is a very important task. The entire year, the entire, growth of a person is dependent on this appraisal. So sometimes the rater, they don't take a single, few minutes only for their, in terms of evaluating the performance of employees. Sometimes the supervisor revealed some sort of anxiety in appraising the subordinate. Sometimes you have a fear, sometimes you have this kind of thing that you don't know about the employee, you have not worked on him. Sometimes you believe that he will overpass you. So many reasons are there through which you are unable to fulfill whatever the criteria that is being designed. So these are the basic problems that usually been arise with the performance appraisal system. Now the next topic is how to make the performance appraisal more effective. Now, what are the companies, what they are doing exactly to make their entire evaluation of system in a more effective way? There are four ways through which we can make our performance appraisal system more effective. The very first one is standard appraisal scheme. It is also known as result oriented scheme. It basically follows a more positive approach towards performance appraisal, and they mainly follow the philosophy of management by objective into it. This is an approach in which they basically believe that the supervisor, they, instead of criticizing their employees, they need to analyze them better. What this particular management by objective approach they usually say, they mainly says that each and every employee, should be guided, should be uh, on a participative basis, they will be involved in the decision making of their area related work. So with this, this is the way through which we can better analyze, evaluate the performance of employee. Along with that, we can improve their performance, right? Instead of the supervisors, they, in the meantime, criticizing their employees, they should regularly watch them by, or if the employee, they themselves set their own targets with the superior, then it is more easier for them to accomplish it. Then the second is performance reviews.
Performance reviews, basically the basic purpose is to analyze what a person has done and is doing with his job. In basically the main purpose is to help them to enhance their strengths as well as to work on their weaknesses. So basically on a regular intervals, it's not about that a year end, then only we are going to evaluate them. On a regular basis, we need to keep a check on the employees performance. On a regular basis, we need to check their activities. Regular counselings should be done for the employees in terms of what else they are doing and what is their performance, what are the problems they will be finding. So this is the way through which we can have a better appraisal system. Multiple appraisals. Multiple appraisals simply talk about, it is not that it has been said that in a competitive environment of today, it is not possible that if we have a single appraisal system. So they say basically says that single appraisal system, actually we simply says that performance appraisal is complete judgmental in nature, and with this judgmental nature, it suffers from subjectivity, suffers from the problem in terms of reliability. So in order to minimize it, avoid it, multiple evaluation should be done. It should not be one party, there should be one or more parties should be there who are going to evaluate them. And the best approach in this is 360-degree performance appraisal. So multiple appraisals should be governed for a single employee. Trained appraisers. It is also important that the person or the rater who is training, actually appraising a particular employee, he should be well trained, right? He has the ability to appraise others, right? Or they can appraise them perfectly, accurately. So experience itself does not prepare one to conduct the performance appraisal. Rather, a formal training is being required to conduct a proper appraisal. So we need to organization on a timely basis. They need to prepare. They need to, the need the preparation of managers and supervisors so that they can do the proper appraisals in the organization.
Potential appraisal. Potential appraisal is basically an appraisal which identifies the hidden talent and skills of a person. It is basically, people sometimes they are might or might not be aware of them, but potential appraisal is a future oriented appraisal whose main objective is to identify, evaluate the potential that an employee carries and push them to the higher positions and the responsibilities in the organizational hierarchy. So, through how we do the potential appraisal, there are different ways through which it is being done by monitoring the activities of the employee, by having a check on who is performing what and what kind and how the way they are performing. Accordingly, we'll get the idea about what is the talent that a particular require and how it will be useful for certain kinds of higher positions in the definition of potential appraisal simply talks about that it is a process of determining an employee's strengths and weaknesses with a view to use this as a predictor of his future performance. It is future oriented appraisal aimed to identify and evaluate the potential of the employee. Here, when we talk about performance appraisal, it talks about past, how you have performed. Here we are talking about present and future. The way you are working, how you will be, considered for the higher position in future. That is basically is future oriented. Now the last slide is the need for the appraisal. Now here it is the need for potential appraisal. Why in the companies we go for the potential appraisals? It is creating a competitive environment for better performance because when your performance, your skills are being judged or being seen on a regular basis, and on that basis there are so many growth opportunities are there in the organization, then automatically it will automatically create a competitive environment because everyone wants to achieve that success. So accordingly, it will create a competitive environment in the organization. Another is it is going to infuse a healthy organizational culture because it is with this, it is going to create a healthy environment. There should not be any kind of unnecessary gossipings, unnecessary, escalations, unnecessary uh, management or employees relationship. So basically, this type of what I say, working environment, positive working environment, will lead to a good culture in the organization. Each one of them, they wants to do something, you know um, result oriented, that will actually give them certain appreciation, some recognition, some promotion as well, boosting the morale and motivation of the employee. Once such environment is there, certain kinds of good working culture is there. If the employees, they perform well because of this particular hope that they will be getting these many benefits, then automatically the employee will feel motivated. And if the organizations, they are giving them some kinds of motivations, incentives for their better performance, it automatically is going to increase their morale. Attracting and retaining the best talent. This is the final point. Like, if such kind of opportunities, growth, these all things are there in the organization, then automatically the people, they don't leave the organization. They'll stay in the organization for a longer period of time. They actually look for such kind of organization who thinks about for them. Because with these kinds of potential appraisal, it is giving you the opportunity to grow yourself, grow your career. And accordingly, they create such kind of environment within the organization so that the people, they can be mingled with such kind of environment. Thank you so much.